enthusiasm will rub off on your students. So it will rub off on them.
Too many board members have put.
Thank you very much. At this time, I'd like to open to the public. If anybody has any questions or comments, please state your name and town and limit your comments to 5 minutes. Yes.
This isn't related to the board, I just wanted to mention that Bruce did a really terrific blog he posted this summer that I got on his list somehow. I don't know if you can include students on the list.
Yeah, actually, Mr. Mattias put a link on the Mendon website, and a lot of students looked at it, and I got a lot of feedback and comments that way.
Yeah, keeping a blog is sort of Smith, and it's a lot of work. It was a terrific, there's a lot of work.
Thank you.
Yes, in the back.
I'm Leslie Muley. Do I have to do my address?
What's your town?
My town, Long Valley. I guess my questions, I know I only have 5 minutes. It's going to be hard for me. Could you tell me, first of all, how long the teachers have been working without a contract?
Over a year.
Just 1 year?
It was a year on June 30th.
And could you tell me what the holdup is? Why there's no resolution to that?
It gets complicated, but would you like to answer it briefly?
We're currently in mediation with the teachers. We're at an impasse. I think we just had an impasse meeting scheduled, Doug. It takes months and months because there are a lot of other districts in similar situations, and I think our official impasse meeting is going to be
Are you talking about the
fact finding.
January 6th.
January 6th will be a fact finding issue. We are still
I'm
currently
sorry, because I really don't
negotiating.
know that much about this. Well, could you be a little more specific about what it means, what you're doing?
At impasse means neither side can come to an agreement, and we've brought in mediators. And we're past the mediation session, which then goes to fact finding.
And who does the fact finding?
A paid professional provided by the state of New Jersey that we have to pay for jointly with the Teachers Association.
And then what do you want to come out of that fact finding? What are they looking for?
The fact finder will be looking at our financial data and the requests of each side and analyzing those requests that we're currently negotiating, which are not public at this point. After fact finding, all those things will become public. I
So-
think required by the law within 10 days or after 10 days.
So what actually happens on January 6th? That's when the fact finding begins?
We've actually
That's the
started
next
that
step.
process, but that will be our first session where we start exchanging information. I believe that the fact finder
It's a hearing.
requires.
It's a
It's a
hearing.
hearing.
And so how long after that date could this go on, this no contract?
There is a contract.
Oh, there is a
We
contract?
work under the existing contract. It's not that there is not a contract. That's a popular
Then why,
misconception.
I may be wrong, but what I understand is that there's no back-to-school night at Westmar Central, that there are no letters of recommendation being written, that there's really no compromise happening, which is something that I want to teach my kids how to compromise, so that's a little upsetting to me. That the kids have to walk through basically a teacher wall in the morning to get into the building. And I personally don't like that the kids are being used as messengers. They're coming home and telling me things that are going on. I also understand that the teachers, in my opinion, and what I hope and I believe, they don't want to do these things, but it's their only leverage that they have to get people to understand what's going on. So maybe I have the wrong information.
I believe a lot of that information is incorrect.
Both sides, and certainly the teachers have been very professional through this. This is the longest that our district has ever gone without a new contract. And it's certainly been uncharted territory for all of us. And we continue to work together to bring this to a successful conclusion as rapidly as possible.
So does that mean that there is going to be a back-to-school night and that there are letters of recommendation being written and all those things that I just said?
We haven't scheduled the back-to-school night yet because it's very important and we want to make sure that it's done right. And we can't guarantee that right at this moment, but hope to soon. I haven't heard anything about the letters of recommendation at this point.
And you didn't hear anything about teachers staying outside until a certain time before they come into the building?
Some of that happened last year, and I saw some of that.
So can you project that maybe by the end of this year, there will be a contract before the end of the year? A new contract?
If we can project that, we might already be done. That's very good. None of us have a crystal ball. It's a very difficult thing to do.
So there's a big possibility that there won't be a contract by the end of this year?
That's not what I said. I hope that there's one. I think everybody in this room hopes that there's one sooner rather than later.
Is there anything that the parents can do to help the process, or no? Because I'm not the
Come to
only
board
parent that's
meetings,
upset.
voice your opinions, let us know what's on your mind.
Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah.
Mike Frito from the association. I just wanted to assure the lady that was speaking that there is no teacher that has been directed to not write a letter of recommendation. On the contrary, we know that's our obligation. If your son or daughter needs a letter of recommendation, they will get one. And I guarantee you we will work to our contract, which means we will be in work on time to fulfill our obligations.
That's big news.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Yes.
Janet Hoban, Chester. I just have a question, a little bit of a concern. I have twin boys who are seniors at Mendham. I have already corresponded with the school about this, but I was wondering whether or not the board has any regulations to go on a policy on a couple of things. And let me back up for a minute. First of all, the website. When I wanted to write the principal at Mendham an email. To find the principal's email address, I never could. Couldn't find it. I could find faculty very easily because it says faculty and it pops up. There is no such thing that says administration. So I finally, it was pointed out to me where I have to go, which is through a few pages before I get to administration. If you're going to have faculty up there, I would encourage on the website you have an administration tab and you can quickly access the emails of all the administrators. Should be pretty simple. But anyway, the reason I was trying to get a hold of them was that my sons received a little note in their back-to-school packet that said they would be sharing a locker because they didn't know exactly what the enrollment was going to be, and so they were going to have to share a locker. So there's in the senior class, there's 7 or 8 sets of twins at least. So I quickly texted a friend of mine who also has twin sons. Same thing. All right. So my sons were somewhat dismayed over the fact that they're finally seniors. In the senior hall, they're going to be sharing a locker. So I try to find, they go and talk to Miss Wells several times to see how long this is going to last. And they're told, well, they had this influx of students at the end, right before school started, don't really know what the enrollment is, don't know what our locker situation is. Now, I found that somewhat confusing because you just built a new freshman wing that has ample lockers for freshmen, so what has happened to all the lockers in the rest of the school that would mean that my sons have to share a locker? All right, so after I write the email, the same day I write the email, they get lockers. However, and they said, Mom, you did it again. I said, no, I don't think so. But anyway, I talked to another friend of mine, again, who has twin boys who are in the senior class, and as of this weekend, they're still sharing lockers. Now, my one son got a locker. It's at the very end of all the senior lockers, and he's not with, where he usually is alphabetically, whatever. So, was the board aware of this, even that there's an issue with lockers at the high school? That at Mendham was one question. I had written an email to the principal and said, how many students are there? How many lockers are there? how was it determined who was going to share a locker and who wasn't going to share a locker? And, you know, what's the status? And I got an email back that said, as of today, your sons have lockers. Okay, so that's one question I have for you. The second question I have is, and if there is, now let me step back. If there is, if you all didn't know about it, I was on the board in Chester for 6 years. There should be a regulation that goes with the policy about lockers. There should be something that's set forth to make sure it is done equitably, to determine who doesn't get lockers, okay? In my opinion.